Welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about grain-free diets, so let's get into it. With thousands of dog food brands out on the market, trends about raw dog food, and the never-endless formulas that seem to be popping up all over the place, targeting specific breeds and ages, I am sure many of you, like myself, are wondering, should I be feeding grain-free to my dog, or should I stick to regular food? I do want to give them the best, so if it's free of something, it must be free of something bad, right? Wrong. Over the recent years, the gluten-free, sugar-free, and grain-free product lines for both humans and dogs have been increasingly associated with the health benefits of a specific item. A medically reviewed article by Kathleen Doney on WebMD states that these days gluten-free diets are the most popular diet in the United States, with 1 in 5 people trying to reduce or completely eliminate gluten from their diet. Okay, Carla, but we're talking about dog food, not human food. Well, this is why it became so popular. It is important to mention the comparison about gluten-free diets in humans and therefore grain-free diets in the pet industry, because the same misinformation has been spreading about the two. Much like gluten-free diets were developed for people that struggle with celiac disease, grain-free diets were formulated for dogs that have a specific sensitivity to those grains. But the perceived idea that either diet will make you or your dog healthier is just a marketing gimmick. This allowed brands to sell more of their product, expand their product lines, and market up to a higher price point. Now, this doesn't mean that gluten-free or grain-free diets are a total marketing scam. However, they have been targeting people that do not necessarily need this diet, and therefore that's why I'm calling it kind of a marketing gimmick. Okay, so what are grain-free diets? Grain-free diets are diets that do not include corn, wheat, soy, rice, barley, or any other grain. But that is not to say that these diets don't include carbohydrates at all, because they do. And they usually use peas, lentils, chickpeas, beans, or potatoes. And most people think that if you have a dog with allergies, then grain-free is the way to go, because most dogs are allergic to grains, right? Also wrong. In an article published by PetMD, they state that the truth is that in a study that they did on 278 cases of allergies on dogs, they identified that the biggest culprit by far was beef, with 95 cases showing positive for beef. Dairy was the number 2 at 55 cases, and wheat came in third with 42 cases. Actually, soy and corn were minimal offenders with only 13 and 7 cases respectively. In fact, protein sources are more often the blame of allergies, with beef, dairy, chicken, eggs, lamb, pork, soy, and fish being responsible for 231 cases of allergies versus corn and rice combined, which were responsible for 54. And for context, some animals were allergic to multiple ingredients, which is why the total of this number surpasses the 278 participants that they studied. Contrary to popular beliefs, dogs are actually not as allergic to grains as we thought, and similarly to humans, only 10% of humans are actually gluten sensitive. Actually, they state that the top allergy-provoking ingredients in dogs are beef, dairy, wheat, chicken, and egg in this order. With all of this in mind, it might be a little more clear as to why brands carry so many grain-free products in their product line. And that's because they want to provide you an option in case your dog is sensitive to grains. Then you won't leave their brand just because they don't offer it. You will stay within their brand and just purchase the same food in a grain-free option. I mean, think about it. If you've been feeding Purina your whole life and all of a sudden you get a dog that is sensitive to grains, why would you leave Purina? Only if they didn't offer the product that you wanted. So this is why a lot of brands, actually most brands, offer a grain-free product in their product line. That way you will continue to buy with them and not move to a different brand. So don't be fooled with them popping up everywhere thinking that, oh, everybody's feeding grain-free, everybody's coming up with a grain-free product. It must be that everybody's switching or everybody's knows something that I don't know. And that is not necessarily true. So please do your research, check your ingredients, and you'll be just fine. Now, I don't want to alarm you, but the AKC did put out an article that suggests that in 2019, they found that grain-free diets were causing canine heart disease, or DCM. The foods of concerns in this were foods that contain legumes, sweet potatoes, or potatoes as their primary ingredient. Although DCM is not necessarily rare in dogs, this was kind of concerning because it started popping up in breeds that are not usually prone to the disease. Between 2014 and 2019, the FDA received 524 cases reported of DCM linked back to grain-free diet. Although the study has not been conclusive that it is because of these foods that these dogs were getting DCM, they do warn that this should be taken seriously and that the FDA will continue to investigate this matter in order to come to a conclusion and better inform consumers. There was later an update to the research that actually made this a lot broader, and veterinarians are calling this the BEG diets that are causing DCM, and they define that as boutique companies, exotic ingredients, and grain-free diet. They advise to consult your veterinarian before going on a grain-free diet because every dog can be less or more prone to this disease, and if your dog is not sensitive to grains, then there really should be no reason for you to be feeding grain-free. If you have been feeding grain-free with no problem all this time, then it might be just good to check with your vet that everything looks good in your dog's blood work, so that you can continue feeding grain-free if that's the choice that you want to make. If you need help choosing a high quality kibble, then I'll link our latest video on that here. Check the ingredients because that's where all the information lies on a quality product. As always, I will link my Medium down below that explains all the articles that I've used to create this video, and also just this whole video pretty much in article form. If you want to check it out, it is free and it'll be down below. You can also become a member of Medium, and I'll leave that link down below as well. If you enjoyed this video, then thank you so much for being here and sticking around till the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to stick around. In the coming weeks, we will be getting into raw dog food, and is it good or is it bad? What is the controversy there? Just stay tuned to find out, or hit the notification bell if you want to be notified about that video. So other than that, I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.